Okay, there we go. We should be live now. So as per the usual, we're going to just kind of hang out for a minute until that number right there, of course, changes to something other than a 0. If anyone can hear me, please mention it in the chat. There's usually a bit of a delay, of course, but just let me know if you can hear me and if everything's coming through fine. Hello and welcome. So this number down here, of course, still shows a 0, but obviously there's at least one person online. They've talked in the chat, so I'm just going to give it another minute or so before we actually get started. Still says 0, but there's always a delay. Almost every time I stream, there's a delay of at least a few minutes before that updates and changes to something other than a 0. So we'll just give it another minute or so and get started. Welcome, welcome. So we have at least 2 people in the chat right now, but the number's still showing 0, so we'll give it a second. Welcome. I think that's... Is that lit? It probably is. So hopefully this number changes in the next few seconds, and then we can go ahead and get started. Let me know if it's coming through clearer, if there's any, like, you know, glitchiness in the video or the audio. So I know we have at least 3 people, but Twitch is still saying 0, so... There we go, now we have a number. It says 7. Yay! Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So this month... Welcome. I hate YouTube, too. So this month's going to be a little bit different. We have some of the stuff in the files is a little bit different than the norm, I guess you could say. I'm sorry, I'm moving my camera a little bit, kind of trying to get me centered. So the usual... you know, like bosses that we have, which is what I usually go through the first time. This time we have more bosses than I've seen in months. So I'm assuming this must be some kind of event or something coming up, I don't know. But this is one of them, and I'm assuming based on the color scheme this is fire. That one, again, based on the color scheme, is earth. That one is most likely spirit. That one's water. Actually, hang on. I'm not sure. There's 3 colors here that are, actually that's probably... I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, there's 5 of those in total. 5 different colored bosses that are exactly the same other than the color scheme. Then we have our regular raid boss, which is this one here. And then we have a reused raid boss, which is also pretty normal. So this one is air and earth. This one's air and water. These ones, as I said, are all the different other element combinations. And then we have, of course, after them, we have the pictures with some effects. And then we have the actual little heads. If you zoom in, you can see there's the head of one of them. And that's the reused boss. So this boss we've actually seen, I think, This is the 4th time, I think. Not sure. But this is the new one. This is the old one. And then we have these ones, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 of them, but for some reason there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, no, there is 5. Never mind. I'm just being stupid. So this one is fire. This one's earth. This one, I believe, is spirit. This one's air. Sorry, and this one's water. So anyway, that's the bosses. So I'm going to rename just the head portions because that's the portions I actually use. So number 9 is boss 1, which I don't know the orders. That's just how I name them. And then we have boss 2, which is 10. And then I'm going to name the other bosses boss 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I don't know what else to call them. Some kind of event, I'm sure, coming up. But there's boss 3. Actually, I should probably label them while I'm at it here. So that one looks to be earth. So boss 3, I'll put earth next to that. If I could type, that would be helpful. And then we have this one, which looks to be... Hang on, let me look at these colors. That one looks to be air. Spirit, fire. So 15 is fire. So boss 7, fire. That's how I'm just going to name them there. And this one looks to be spirit. So 14, boss 6, spirit. That one I believe is air, but I'm not positive. Yeah, that's water. So 12 is water. So we'll name this one boss 4. And then that one is air, so boss 5. Okay, so there we are. So we have the regular 2 raid bosses and then 5 other bosses for I don't know what reason. But we're going to put them in here. So they're in there already. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the actual armors. So as usual, there's going to be at least one reskin. There almost always is. But first off, we have what looks like a monkey pet. I'm guessing that's probably going to be tier 5, but I'm not positive. And there's another one. That's probably tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. So the first 5 are actually pets, which is not that common. Normally it's armors right off the bat when I'm going through these, but we're going to put these in their own folder just to get them out of the way for now. Now we have our first armor, which is this one, which is the reused armor. This is originally Onyx Skyward. There's been 2 other versions at least since then. There was actually an epic boss armor that was based on this design. It was the Shamanic Avenger, I think, something like that. So this one has been used, I think, at least 4 times prior to now, maybe 3 times, but it's been used several times. The original armor was Earth and Air. Now it's Air and Earth, but this is raid armor number 1. Whoops. Armor 1, Air, Earth, and that is male. Yeah. And next up we have 1 step down, so that's easy. And then we have the female version, but evolved, the ascended version, and then we have the female 1 step down. Whoops, I did not want to do that. No, I wanted to rename it as 1 and then change it to an F. There we go, that's better. Okay, now we have an air and fire. So this one is, I'm going to guess this is probably a seasonal, just by the looks of it. So this one is armor 2, air, fire, and that's male. And that's armor number 3, which is air and water. And I believe that's male, looks like. And now we have air and spirit. So this one is actually one of my favorite designs this month. The dual air, of course, is my favorite, I think, but this is the air spirit. There's 2 air spirits in here, and this one I think is my favorite of the armor designs in this month. That's 4 air spirit. I'm pretty sure that's female. And that one is male. Actually, no, that's a step down male. So copy that one. So that's male, but it's a step down from Ascension. Then we have the base of the male, this first guy. And there's the male of that's air and spirit right there. So the ascended version. Now we have the dual air. So here's our dual air, much like we had with the dual air this last time around, last cycle, last air. It doesn't look distinctly air. It definitely looks like it has air in it, but it also has other colors in it that are kind of not really indicative of air. So it's a cool looking armor, obviously, but it doesn't look distinctly air to me. It looks like air and maybe fire or something. So that's the dual air. That is the male version, I believe. 5 dual air. Pretty sure it's male, based on the chest. And there is air and earth number 2. So this is the... excuse me, let me think. So this is air earth. This is most likely the seasonal, since the other air earth is the raid armor. And that is male. Yeah, okay. And that one, again, doesn't look... It looks earth-ish, but there's more like kind of fire color schemes to it. But it is air earth, kind of like the air earth seasonal we had. I think it was season 40, I think. But it looked very air and fire like this one does, but it's air and earth. So that's that one. Then we have a step down from Ascension on the female of the air and spirit. And then we have the other air and water. So one weird thing about this month, usually when you're looking at the raid bosses and the raid armors, it's obvious which one's which. But this one doesn't really look much like the boss. Let me jump back and show you what I mean. Here we go. So boss number 1. Probably easier if I look at the full armor image. The bosses, in this particular case, this boss does not look distinctly like... Make it over here to where I'm at. Does not look really distinctly like either of the 2 air water armors in this month's data. So this one, it kind of sort of looks like that one. But anyway, the air and waters, one will be raid and one will be fusion. But I don't know which one's which, because this one... Where is it at? There. This is the other air and water, which doesn't look distinctly like that one either. So I'm not really sure which of the 2 armors is raid. I'm going to guess and say it's this one, but I'm not positive because it doesn't really look that much like this armor, or like this boss. For example, there's like skulls around the waistband. There's these horned looking things on the sides. He's got chains wrapped around him, and this thing that goes up behind his head, I'm guessing. Or maybe that's his weapon, I'm not sure. But this doesn't look really much like that. The color scheme isn't even really that close. So I'm going to say it's this one, but I honestly don't know. It doesn't really look that much like it. So anyway, go back into here again. So we are on pack 100, by the way, for season 50. So there's been 100 packs of data since the game started. The first one had only just, I think it was like 2-star armors in it or something like that, but it gradually, of course, increased over the course of time to have, you know, epic armors, or sorry, ultra rare, legendary, epic, dragon forged, and now shadow forged. So yeah, anyway, so I'm thinking this is probably the other raid armor, but I'm not positive. That's just a guess on my part at this point, because neither one of them really looks distinctly like that boss, and usually they do. So this is air spirit number 2. I hate when Windows does that. Thank you. Okay, armor 8, air spirit. That one I think is male. And there's the female of the dual air. And there's the air and fire female. First one up here at the top, I think. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure, because there are 2 of them. So when I looked at the files originally, I did kind of a little cheat sheet here so I could check them out. So there's 1, 2 air earth, 1, 2 air water, 1, 2 air spirit, 1, 2 air fire. So there's actually 1 or 2 of every element combination except dual air. So I don't know. You know, it's really actually pretty abnormal to have exactly the same number. Usually there's like 3 air spirits and 1 air fire, or 3 air fires and 1 air spirit. It's usually some random combination. It's weird that this month has exactly 2 of each. Okay, so that one's done. Moving on. There's the male version of that same air and fire, but 1 step down from Ascension. There's the air and earth. That's the female version. It's this one right here. There's the air and spirit we just looked at, but that's the female version. And there's the other air and fire. So this is the last air and fire. This one looks very air and fire. It has like the white tipped blade, and it has the little like flaring like fire looks to it. So this one looks air fire, but it kind of also looks a little spirit-y or water-y. It's kind of got a weird element, or kind of a weird color combination, but it's still air fire, as you can see by the swirls, you know, the aura at the feet. So it's still clearly air fire. And that is the last armor of the batch here. I just got to sort through the rest of them and get them all categorized. So there's the female of the air and water. I think it was this one. No, sorry, that's the first one. That one right there. So that's the same one as this one. And I've mentioned this in previous live streams. It's almost like they have a new art team. or at least the art team has gone retro, because a lot of these armors have a very older look to them, I guess. Not really older, but they look like the older armors used to. So, from back in like the Epic and Dragonforge days. So that's Air and Fire, or excuse me, Air and Spirit, Air and Spirit, God, I'm brain dead today. Air and Earth, that one right there. But it's a step down from Ascension. So that's the male version. But one step down. There's the one step down of the Air and Water at the top. That's male. There's the Air and Fire at the very top, I believe. Yeah, it's that one, but it's the male. It's the base of the male. And there's the base of the female guy up here at the very, very top, the very first one, which is the only reskin in the entire batch of data, which is good. I like that. There usually is going to be one reskin because one of the raid bosses is going to be a reused armor. And then one of them will be new. Again, I don't know this month which one of the Air Waters is the raid armor. So this one is male base of that one. Male and female, yeah. M and F. That's why I label them that way, so I know which one's which. Because I've used the male and female looks of the armor. So if you go into your armor in game, when you're looking at your armor with your armor equipped, ring and amulet equipped, right to the right side of where your name is displayed, there's a male and a female like little icon you can tap on, and it switches the looks between male and female. Okay, so that one is the Air and Spirit. I think it's this one. Yeah. And that's the male, one step down. There's the female of the Air and Spirit up here, I believe. I think that's right. Pretty sure it is. Yes, it is. Okay. So that's the female base of that one. There is the female of the other Air and Water. There's the female of the Air and Earth. I think it was this one here. Yeah. Yup. Okay, there's the Air and Fire. Down here at the bottom, the male, one step down. And sometimes these are out of order. Sometimes they're... Whoops. I hate when Windows does that. Stop creating temp files, you piece of garbage. Okay, there's the Air Fire at the top. That's the female, I think. That one? Yeah. Excuse me. Alright. That's that one. There's the dual air, but that's a step down from Ascension, and that is the female, I think. I'm pretty sure. It looks like it is. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah, I think it is. Pretty sure. Okay. So that one is the dual air, but one step down from Ascension. There's the base of the female of the Air and Fire at the top. This one right here. There's the Air and Water at the bottom, I believe. Yep. Just making sure, because I inevitably screw myself up at some point, unless I double check my work as I go. So this one is the female, one step down. Hey Dubs, welcome. That's the female of this one. That's the Air and Earth. I think it's that one. Yeah. So that's the base of that one in the male. There's the female of the Air and Water right here, I believe. It's the Air and Earth, which is this one, I think, here. Yes, but it's the female version. There's the dual air. That's the male. Actually, that might be male now that I look at it. I don't know. That's a hard one to tell sometimes. Sometimes these looks of the armors are not that obvious, so it's not always easy to tell which one's which. So this one, that's the base, I believe. Yeah, because there's no color on the blade on this one. This one's just the straight blade. This one has the color at that center point at the bottom of the blade. So this one is the... That might actually be male. I'll have to come back to it, but this one looks to be the same as that one. I'm going to label it as female for now, but I may have to fix that in a minute. Whoops. I'll label it as female for now, and I'll come back and fix it if I need to. There's the air and water. That's the male base. And there is the same armor, I think. No, that's the one at the top. This one. Yeah. So that is the female base of that one. Or is it one step down? No, it's one step down from Ascension. Never mind. That was close. I'm getting there. Almost there. That's the base of the air and spirit at the bottom. That is the male, I think. I, of course, can fix that. That looks distinctly more female. Yeah, that's the female dual air. Let me look at this one. Oops, wrong one. I wanted that one there. There we go. Yeah, this is male. I was wrong. Okay. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to rename it as male. And then we're going to name this one female. Yeah, I got it wrong. Does happen on occasion. That is the base of the air spirit, but that's the female. Actually, no, I got that one wrong too. That's actually the male. And this one here's the male, I mean, rather. There we go. There is the base of the female. Yeah, so I was wrong on the dual airs. It's hard to tell sometimes. So this one is the male. Hang on, did I screw that up? Oh, this one's... I think I screwed myself up. I'm on the wrong one. Let's try that again. And this one is the female. There we go. Much better. Okay. Sorted. Alright, so now we're going to go to the male of the base of this one. Yeah, I like to look at the armors this month too. They're all pretty good looking in their own ways. That's the air water at the bottom, I think. Yes. That is the base. Oh, I labeled that one wrong. That's not the right one. That one's the air water at the top. Yeah, that's the male base of the air water up here. So this one is air water 3. There we go. That's better. This one is the base of that one I just looked at. Oops, male. Yeah, there we go. No, there's only one reskin actually, Dubs. There's only one. That one is the one at the top and the female. So this one here. There we go. And the air fire at the bottom. That's the female base of that one. And that's the female base of the other air and water right here. I think that's it. Yep, okay. So here's the wings or the cape, whatever you prefer there. That's what that looks like. I like it. That's what that one looks like. And then there's two of the exact same image. They always do that. I don't know why there's two of them, but there's two. So 59 and 60. Let me close that. Open it back up because I tapped on it wrong and it won't let me rotate. So 59, 60, and 62. Make a folder. And then it's, I believe, this one here. Yep, that's the cape. So that's what it looks like. That's what I'll put on the actual image. Okay, and then we have the heads of the armors. So let's close that and start fresh. 61 is air water at the top, I believe. Yes, it is. And that's the air earth, which is this one here, I think. Yep. And again, that one does not look distinctly air earth to me. It looks like air fire. But whatever. That's the air fire at the top, if memory serves, which is this one. Where'd it go? Right there. Yep, that's that one. Ring and amulets this month, I have a feeling, are going to suck. They always seem to every few months. They're just a pain in the butt sometimes. That's the air spirit at the bottom, right there. That's the air and earth, the only reskin this month, which I like. That's the air and spirit at the top, which is this one here. There's the air and fire at the bottom. Now that I've gone through them a few times, it's starting to be a little easier. So there's pet number 1, that's tier 5, tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. Okay, so we have 70, 72, 74, 75. Okay, so 70 to 72, 74, and 75. That's the pets. That's the heads of them, the avatars, if you will. All right, so this one is tier 5. It's in order. That's kind of handy. Doesn't happen that way very often. This is tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. There we go. So now if I go to here and I go tier 1, tier 2, actually I may have those backwards. I do. I have 1 and 2 backwards. There we go. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Done. No, Deca doesn't send them to me. Oh, yeah. No, Deca doesn't send these to me. I actually download these from the servers. I got these files originally on the 7th or the 8th, I think it was, but the files were incomplete. Not everything was there. It was only 8 armors instead of 9, and there was only 2 bosses instead of the current 7, etc. So I contacted them and asked them, when is the data going to be correct and, complete? And they said, oh, it's just a little bit delayed. We had one of the armors that had to get finished or something to that effect. So the Air and Spirit, that was the one that I mentioned early on that I like, is the armor that was missing. So I thought it was a raid boss armor because I figured there'd be 3 air waters, but there's not. So it's actually the Air Spirit that was missing, and then also the bosses. So and then the stats wise, they send those to me at the beginning of each month. So, and the stats are not in the game at all until they literally put the armors out. So it's entirely possible there's at least some base stat information in the data, but I have no clue how to get it out, so I don't even bother. I just work with the images. So all I know is this is what the armors look like, and this is the ring and amulet sets that go with them, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is the same ring and amulet set as the original armor, which was the Onyx Skyward originally. Let me find the amulet for it really quick, because I know exactly what it looks like. Oh, there's also these guys, which I'll come back to in a second. There it is right there. 90. That's the amulet. Okay, there we go. So there's also these weird icon things. I'm not sure what they're going to be used for, but... Oh, did I rename the wrong one? I probably did. I did. That's the head for the dual air. That is armor 5. Air. Head. I forgot there was one still left. That one right there is the ring. So let's try that again. That's the ring. There we go. Okay. Now let's start over. Make sure I'm not screwing myself up again. Alright, so that one looks to be... The top of the ring's cut off. That's funny. Haven't seen that before. I think that goes with this one. I think. Yeah, it's got the skull. It's got that kind of look to it, and the kind of the jagged blades. I think it goes with this one. I'm pretty sure it does, anyway. I'm going to say it does for now. I can always fix it later if I make a mistake. That one is the other air and water up here at the top. It looks just like the swirl kind of on the weapon right there. You can also see it on the shield. Has that same sort of kind of, color scheme to it, so that's that one. That's an easy one to find. Or easier, I should say. That one, I don't know. Now that I've looked at it, maybe it isn't that one. Maybe it's this one. Kind of does have these kind of ghost swirls going around the weapons and stuff. Yeah, it probably is a new event. That's what I was mentioning earlier before you joined. Actually, no, there's skulls. I'm going to keep the skull with this one, so it's not this one. I'm going to go with a different armor instead. So this one looks like it's probably going to be the... Let's see, let me look at this one. I don't think it's this one. No, it's not that one. Definitely not that one. It's not the ring there for that one, because I already got it. Maybe it's this one. Let me look here. No, it doesn't look like that enough. Okay, let's try the dual air. No, definitely not that one. Wrong color scheme entirely. And definitely not the air and earth that looks like an air and fire. How about this one? It might be this one. Yeah, that actually looks like that one. Has the same sort of like, that look right there kind of looks like this as well. Has like these little plates on the sides of the legs. And has a little swirly thing, you know, there. That looks like that one. I'm going to say it's that one because it also has the same sort of like glowing gems kind of in the middle of the weapon there, and that's the same as that one. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. That's what it looks like to me. And of course, I have made mistakes before in the past, and I'm never 100% right all the time. But that's, you know, it's not because not because I'm not looking, it's just because they look so similar to my eyes. Okay, so that is the air and earth. It looks like air and fire, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it has the same like look right there on the top of the helmet right there. So that's that one. This is a lot easier than I was expecting it to be, because sometimes this is a huge pain getting these right. That is the other air and earth, I think, or not air and earth. Excuse me. That's one of the air and fires, I believe. Not that one. I think it's this air and fire at the top. Yeah, looks like this one. Has the same like front plate right there in the front of the chest. Matches up with that nicely. That's that one. So it is actually an air and fire that looks like an air and fire. Instead of an air and earth, it looks like an air and fire. Okay, now we have these books. I don't know what these are. So these are just icons in the game. I don't know what they're going to be used for, but like you said, probably an event. I just don't know. And there's the multiple bosses, of course, so it's probably something to do with that. There's actually 5 of these and 5 of another thing we'll come across in a minute. So I'm just going to leave these where they are for now, and I will come back to them. So that's an amulet for probably an air and spirit or an air and water. Not that one. Definitely not that one. Let's look at the air and spirit. I don't think it's this one either. It doesn't quite look right. No, it's not that one. It's probably the... Actually, that's probably the dual air, now that I think about it, because it has the same kind of color scheme to it. Yeah, it's that one. Pretty sure. Let me pull up the right one I wanted to pull up initially. Yeah, it looks like this one. Same color scheme, same kind of jagged edges to everything. So that's the dual airs amulet. Where's it at here? 86. Right there. That's the amulet for that one. Oops, I typoed that name. I gotta fix it before I move on, because it will bug me if I don't. There we go. Okay. And this one is probably the ring for the very same armor. Looks like it could be. Yeah, it most likely is. Looks like it has the same color scheme, and it has the same sort of like flare right here at the bottom of it, that the weapon, it's very similar to it, not exactly the same, but it has the same sort of like flares to the, like the top of the head here has these, and this has the same sort of thing on the side of it. So that's the ring, most likely for the same armor. Unless I come across something that makes more sense. Okay, we're going to go to here. Oh, I must have tapped up on the keyboard, because that makes the image viewer kind of freak out on me. Okay, so that is the air and water at the top. This guy right here. Yep. That's the amulet for that one. That's number 89. There's the skull again for the air and spirit. I think it was this one. Yeah, it's this one, because it has like that skull sort of pattern in the middle of the shield, as well as in the middle of the chest right there, the bottom of the chest plate. So it's probably going to go with this, and it also matches the same color scheme with the kind of the ghosty, swirly things that are going around it. So that's that one. That's number 91. There is probably the air and fire ring. Not sure. Maybe this one. Yep, that's it. That's easy. Matches up to the color scheme nicely. That's easy. So that one is number 92. And I have to keep checking the numbers because I know those weird kind of book-looking things in between, and I don't want to mess myself up again. There is... That's the air and spirit at the top. That's the ring for it, because it looks just like the little dots in the center of the chest right there. It looks exactly like it. Makes it easy. It's nice when they have those kind of dead giveaway looking things on the on the rings and amulets. Makes it easy to find out which one you're working with. I think that's the amulet for this one. Oops. Looks like it to me. Same sort of color scheme. Yep. That looks like the right one to me. Okay, so we're going to name that one the amulet, and that's number 94. That's the ring for the air and spirit at the top, or the amulet, excuse me, for the air and spirit at the top up here, this one. Because it looks just like the shield, which is pretty common. It's number 95, yeah. there's another one of these things. So there's actually three. Sorry, I forgot. There's three of these. So there's the books, there's these, and then there's what looks like a scroll. And of course, these all have the different, colors for the different elements. And then there's these scrolls right here that all have the same color scheme. So there's multiple different materials in here. I don't know what they all are being used for or anything, but that's them. So 96, 97, then we have an amulet. That looks like air and earth, I think. Air and earth right here. Yeah, looks like that one. Yep. Well, actually, no, it kind of doesn't, now that I look at it. Maybe it's one of the air fires. It might be the air fire up here at the top, now that I think about it. Yep, it's this one. I was looking at the wrong one. Looks like this right here on the center of the axe. That right there. Cool. Gonna say it looked like the air fire, but no, it's the other air earth. Excuse me, but that's actually the air fire. It's number 98. Amulet. Yeah, bosses are looking nice. I agree. Okay, and then we have this one, which I think is air and earth, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it because it has a little swirl right there. It looks like the same kind of swirl, so that matches up with that one. That looks kind of fire-esque, even though it's earth. 101, amulet. Then we have that one, that one. Okay, now we have another another amulet for an air spirit or an air water. I think probably this one. Yeah, it has the same center of the lower part of the chest plate. Breastplate, whatever you want to call it. 103, that's the amulet. Okay, and that's a material. Crafting material looks like a fan. Scroll, and then this thing which looks like, I don't know, like gunpowder? I have no idea. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but this is the other crafting material. So, material number 1 is this one here, so SF50, material 1, and then this one is SF50, material 2. Now the rest of these other 15 guys, are just elemental things. I don't know what they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be used for. But there's the book that has all the different element combinations. Then we have this gem in the middle of like a little housing. There's 5 of those. Then there's 5 of these little scrolls with all the different element combinations. I'm not even going to label these. I'm just going to throw them up on the sheet when I get to that point. Okay, so we're going to take this and this down to here and that. I'm going to copy all these heads, rings, and amulets to my other folder. And then I will start assembling the armors. Amulet head. And then we'll take the cape and the pets, copy, and paste. Well, there's always dual mono armors. The dual air in this particular case. Oh, you're talking about the event where we had the dual monos. Never mind. Sorry. Free shatter is highly unlikely. I think that was just a special occasion for that particular month. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we'll give this a minute to load. It didn't select one of them. I knew it missed one. It missed number 3. The fan from Katana. It does look a lot like it, yeah. 4, 3, 1, and 2. Okay, there we go. Alright, so this one I've done multiple times before. It's, as I said, the Onyx Skyward. It's also been used. It's been used as raid armors, and except for the one time they used it as the epic boss armor that you get each month. They actually used it as a replacement for the Shamanic Sky Shield. But they'd recently used that armor on something else, and so they decided to change it. So, anyway, so this is the same armor that they've used as raid boss armors almost exclusively, except for that one, I think it was, sorry, season 35, something like that, that they used it for the epic boss armor. Or 30, something like that, I can't remember. Why do I have 2 layers already? What the crap? There we go. Okay. I only need 1 to start off with, thanks. There we go. Okay. Move you down. Like so. Now we get the leg with the tail coming off the back of it. which unfortunately you can't see because the shield covers almost all of it up. But that is there in the background, even though you can't see it. So there's that. That's what that armor looks like before you add the shield and the weapon to it. And this is actually one of my favorite weapons, even still now. I still like that weapon. So it has kind of like a hammer on it, but has like dragon wings coming off the side of it. Okay, and this massive shield that covers up like the entire side there, including the tail. But there you go. It's unfortunate that it covers up that much, but it's not that uncommon. Most of these armors have weapons shields that cover up the entire arm as well. So you can't see the arm, you can't see anything behind it, but it's pretty common for that to happen. It happens all the time. Unfortunately. There's the hand with the weapon in it. And the end of the handle or the hilt, which of course goes back behind. And that's going to go right about here. And there we go, there's that one. And if memory serves me right, this armor is very square, meaning it's top to bottom and side to side is almost exactly the same dimensions. So it makes it easy to make a nice square out of this, which is what I like to do with all of them anyway. That right there. And width-wise, we are at about 270, 260. Yeah, so pretty darn close. Not exactly, but pretty darn close. Right there. Okay, we're going to save this. Here. There's armor, 1, air, earth. There's that one. One down. Now we have an air, fire. This is a new one as well. Well, I should say new one as well. They're all new except for that one reskin, which we already did. Yeah, it's been a number of times. I think this is the 5th time, if you count the Epic Boss armor. But the Epic Boss armor was exactly the same armor. It wasn't recolored or anything. It was exactly the same. All the other times they've used that armor, it's been recolored. Even this one is slightly different than the original. The Air Earth, I mean. Look about like that. Where are the legs? There they are. Looks like I got some edges to clean up. The edges have a little bit of bleed over here and there sometimes. So if I zoom in here and drop it in place, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about when I get this positioned. So there's a little bit of extra bleed over right there. Like there's a little bit, just a little bit too thick. And it's also a little bit too thick right here at the bottom of this foot. So just a little bit of kind of graphic bleed over where it just looks a little funky. So I just try to clean it up a little. Even though you can't really tell if these images are so small. It sometimes looks a little funky to me, so I fix them before I finish them. Like about like that. That's that one. That's the air fire. And then we have the shield, which is this one here. This is a relatively small shield for most of these armors, really, because most of them are massive. Especially the Earth and Spirit armors have humongous shields, largely because they're supposed to have higher defense, I would assume. But I've seen several armors that are Earth and Spirit that don't have big shields on them. So it's not always the case. Sometimes it doesn't follow that same methodology or logic, if you will. Okay, there's that. Now we get the other end of the hilt here, which also has a little bit of bleed over right there, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's going to be behind the armor, so it's not that big of a concern. This will go right about here. Actually, it needs to go up just a titch. There we go. There's that one. Right about there. Width-wise, about 245. Yeah, this one's taller than it is wide, which is pretty abnormal, actually. They're normally wider than they are tall, but this one's the other way around. Okay, now the air water. This is probably my favorite air water I've seen in a long time. Not my favorite for the month, just my favorite air water that I've seen. Used to be the Slipstream Scale Guard, but then a couple of them have looked a little better, and that Slipstream Scale Guard was so huge. It's like the biggest armor in the game. Like top to bottom and side to side. It's humongous. I think only the Decatron was wider. As far as just, you know, side to side. And this one also has a little bit of bleed over on the bottom of that foot. Right down there. So I have to clean that up a little bit too when I put it in here. Some of them have it, some of them don't. It's actually something that's only started happening really recently, like in the past few months, maybe 6 months or so. Prior to then, it would never happen. There's actually even a little bit right there too. It would normally never happen because I guess, I don't know if it was an art team change or what happened, but the last time prior to then that I had a lot of this bleed over was back in the Legendary and Epic days, when those were still, when those armors were still being introduced in the game, like the Epic boss armors, when they were still epics. And some of the Dragonforged had them too. But they stopped for a long time. The Dragonforged never, or the Shadowforged, excuse me, never had them for the longest time. And then all of a sudden they started reappearing, which is why I kind of think that maybe there's a new art team, or at least they've been given a new direction, I guess. I don't know how to describe that, but the art itself looks a little bit different. Like it looks kind of more retro, like how it used to be back in the Epic and Legendary and early Dragonforge days. I do like the look of this shield though, it looks cool. The armor itself, like I said, looks cool. It's my favorite air and water we've seen in a long time. And this one has the end of the hilt as part of the weapon, which is really abnormal. They normally don't have that. I've only seen that a handful of times in recent months. I gotta clean up that wrist. It's really bleeding over there. Clean that up down to here. Make it look nice and pretty. And the weapon, of course, I have to basically erase all of this because it's right on top of the armor, which I do not like. I just delete it. And then put there's usually a separate hilt, like right there. There's a separate one that they include as well, but it's really rare to have that be part of the weapon. Really, really rare. Okay, now I gotta get this right about there. Ta-da! There's that one. Just checking my CPU. It's like running a little rough right now. It's mostly just this application I'm using to make the pictures, but it tends to run a little slow when I'm doing this, so I apologize if it's a little glitchy on the video or the audio. Usually just the video goes a little glitchy when I'm having issues, but lately it hasn't been as big of a deal. 270 on that one too. That's pretty close to square too. Not too far off. Okay, 3 down, and here's my favorite armor in the batch, in this pack of data, except for the dual air. I think actually I kind of like this one better than dual air, to be honest, but your mileage may vary. You may like the air better than me, or better than this one. But I just like the armors that have kind of the steampunk look to them, in general, just because I like steampunk, but this one has like a robotic sort of look to it as well, which I also like. Like about like that. There we go. Where's the legs? At the top. Okay. There's that one. Kind of get that lined up there. There we go. And where's the arm? Right there. Look about like that. And there's that one. Before I add anything to it. That's a cool looking armor, I think. And then we have this massive shield, which is common. Like I said, with spirit and earth armors, they usually have massive shields. And this unfortunately covers up the entirety of that shoulder. Like, it's kind of lame. Well, not the entirety of it, but most of that arm is just gone behind the shield. So, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. It's got a big weapon too. So, it kind of looks like an axe, like a robotic axe. Has like almost like Tron looking colors in it too, which I like too. For those of you who've seen Tron or Tron Legacy, it has like a Tron sort of feel to it. Clean that up, and then clean the edge of that up because I have to blend that in with the rest of the handle. That's a cool looking weapon. I like it. And there's the handle. Big old massively long thing. And we'll drop that in right about here. There we go. Okay, get you up there to the top and right about there. This one's definitely wider than it is tall. 265 by 265. Not too far off though. There we go. Right to number 4. And now the dual air. Yeah, my computer's starting to lag a little bit here, so apologies in advance if my video or audio goes a little glitchy. When I get this far into the video, it starts to get a little bit wonky for a bit, and then it kind of cleans itself up. But just this starts to slow down my paint.net application that I use for this. Like about like so. Looks a little off actually. That looks better. Trying to get that thing centered in the when there's no there's like the bottom of that's open, so it's not as easy to kind of line up where the chest matches up to the head, or the helmet rather. This one also has a little bit of bleed over right there on that leg, but it's probably going to be hidden by the shield. Like about like so. Probably going to be hidden by the shield, but that's okay, I'll do it anyway. Maybe not that far down, it might actually not be covered. There's the arm in the top corner. Whoops, a little too close to that edge. Like about like that. There's that armor. Pretty cool looking. I like it. And the shield. Which again does not look distinctly air to me. It has air to it obviously, but it's not the only color scheme on there that so it looks a little odd to my eyes. About there. There's a little bit of bleeding right there on the edge of the bottom of that shield. Looks pretty good otherwise though. And we have this big old massive weapon that looks like an arrow. At least the end of it does anyway. Put you right about there. Don't need to even clean that edge up very much. Just a little. Not much. Like that. There we go. Let me actually get this right here just a little bit too, to help blend in that edge on the rest of the handle, or the hilt. And now we can drop that in there and kind of put it right about there. Ta-da! Actually, it's... yeah, that looks better. Trying to make sure it looks like it's lined up. Sounds a little bit harder because the weapon actually, or the end of that handle, has a little bit of like a cutout in it for the hand, which is weird because it's behind the hand, but whatever. Whoops. No, don't do that. I want the whole thing. Thanks. Alright, there and about there. So this one is 280. Okay, jump back to here. Now we can do the rest. So 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, we're getting there. So this one is 8, 7. Oh, did I not? I did not name. I didn't. I didn't name it. I just named it armor. That's the 9th one anyway. Oops. I didn't label it number 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Without the 9. Okay, that's fine. I can fix it later. Not that big of a deal. Now we have the air and earth that looks more air fire to me. It still has a definite green, look to it, but it has that kind of golden color in it that makes it look a little fire to me, to my eyes. It's still obviously air and earth, but it just looks a little fire-esque. Alright. It has like this eye-looking thing in the middle of the faceplate right there. It's like Eye of Sauron, almost. But it's still cool looking. I mean, I like the look of it. It just, like I said, it looks a little fire. When it should look more earth. It's definitely got a green color to it, but it just looks funky to me. Now that I've said that like 7 times. I could probably stop. There's that. And the arm, which has a little bit of bleed over on the bottom of that hand, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's going to be covered by the shield. Whoops, don't do that. There we go. Drop you down on here. And there's also a little bit of bleed over right there, but it's covered by the arm, so I'm not too concerned. So there's that armor, before I add anything to it. This one has a decent sized shield, but not too big. Not like some I've seen. Like the Slipstream Scale Guard I mentioned earlier, that has, I think, one of the biggest shields in the game. It's humongous. The one that we were looking at just a minute ago, yeah, it's air. That's the dual air. Looks very, looks more like it's got other elements in it besides just air, but it is in fact the dual air. This one I gotta blend a lot of that wrist in. And then a little bit of that right there. Oops, I don't think I got all that. No, I guess I did. Never mind. Looked like I didn't, but I did. And the handle. Drop you in back behind here. Like about like so. Ta-da! Alright. That one has a cool blade on it, though. I like the weapon. That one's 240 by 240. That one's almost exactly square. Nice. Yeah, it looks really good, actually. So that's armor 6. Yeah. Okay, now we have the other air and water. And again, I'm not sure which one of the air waters is the raid armor. I'm going to assume it's the other one, and then this is going to be fusion, but I'm not positive. Just a guess at this point. Or it's entirely possible this could be the raid armor. I really don't know. They don't look enough like the boss in my eyes to say for certain one way or the other. This one also does not have the bottom end of the face. Like this bottom plate here is open. So getting those kind of set right, like where they're lined up, a little bit harder sometimes when that happens. Okay. It also has a little bit of bleed over on the bottom of that foot as well. Just a little bit. Right there. Not that bad. I've seen worse, but Just a little bit. And there's also a little bit right there, which again would probably be covered by the shield. But you never know. I just like to clean them up so they look a little nicer. Okay. Now the arm. That is humongous shoulder plate right there. Pauldron, whatever term you prefer. That is massive. It is huge. That can go right about there. It also has a little bit of bleed over on the bottom of that hand, but not too bad. But again, this is going to be covered by the shield, so it doesn't really matter all that much. There's that one. Pretty cool. I like it. And then we have the shield, which has a little bit of bleed over in a couple of spots, which I'm going to clean up before I put it in place. Right there, right there, right there. I think a little bit right there. Yeah, not too bad on that side. Much better. Okay. Now this can go right about there. And the weapon. Oh, not a whole lot to clean up on that one. It's kind of nice. And where's the rest of the handle? There it is. That has a lot of bleed over on the side of that handle, but again, it's behind the armor, so you can't see it anyway. I feel like I've got a sneeze coming. Sorry. Bear with me. See if I can decline the sneeze. And it's gone. Good. Okay. I could feel it kind of coming on there for a second. I didn't want to sneeze and blow everybody's eardrums out. Okay, there is the air and water number 2. And that one is 255 tall. Oh, nice. That one's actually another that's taller than it is wide. Doesn't happen that often. Okay, armor 7, I believe. Yep. Okay, and now air spirit number 2. That one also has a little bit of bleed over on it. I need to, oops, scroll into the wrong place. Right there, which isn't that noticeable, but I see it, so I like to clean it up. And the chest, which is right there. Chest and rear arm. Alright. There we go. Looked a little off to me. But I fixed it. A little bit of bleed over right there on the side of that leg, or that leg plate, whatever it's called. Okay, there we go. Much better. There's a lot going on that arm. A lot going on the weapon and the shield too, though. But there's even kind of like a skull on the side of that arm there too. I didn't notice at first. So there's that one. So everybody can look at that before I add anything to it. Where's the shield? Right there. Just a little bit of bleed over on the side of that shield too. Oh, actually, I got to start over. I got a little too close to the other one. I'm gonna go right down between them, and I got a little bit too close. I don't want to be getting part of that in there. Just let me clean up the edges on this just a little bit. There's a little bit right there, and a little bit right there. That's it. Okay. Right about there. That hand is a mess. I gotta clean that up before I even put it over the armor. Or before I even put it over the existing hand. It's just a mess right there. That whole bottom edge. And this side. I'll end up probably blending some of this in anyway, but it looks funky. like about like that. Okay, there we go. And the handle, which is right there. Not a whole lot of that handle there. I should say not a whole lot of that handle left. It pretty much goes right up to the end of the hand. Which is right about like that. Okay. We are down to the last one. And start building the sheet, and we're just past an hour now, an hour and almost 5 minutes now since I started, which not everyone was on right when I started, of course, but yeah, anyway. Is that close? Yeah, it is. Okay. Wanted to be sure. Okay, so this one is 250. Yeah, this is another one that's taller than it is wide. Pretty abnormal, actually. Not a whole lot of that happening lately, but apparently this month is the month for it. I typoed that name, but that's okay. Okay, and then the last one, which is air and fire. This one's this one has much more of a basic look to it, like some of that like arid spirit we just had there had a lot more like detail to it. This one is just a little bit more simplified, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a very stark contrast from the previous armor that had so much going on and this one being so much more basic. Just strange, I guess. There's that one. Before I add anything to it, so if everyone can see it. Then we have the shield, which is a pretty big shield. It's tall. Not super wide, though. Like the Air and Spirit one was huge. The first Air and Spirit, I should say. The second one was kind of small. It can be like about like that. Excuse me. And now we have the weapon. Rinse and repeat until done. Is that right? Right there, okay. This one shouldn't be too much to clean up on that edge either. Just a little bit. There we go. And then a little bit on the edge of that, just to make it cleaner for blending in the edge of the rest of the handle. And you can see a little bit of a cutout right there on that one too. Right there. That's something that's also been not common for a long time either. They had it back in the Dragon Forged and Epic days, but not really much since. There we go, that should be good. Okay, so there's the air and fire. Last but not least. Okay, that one I figured would be wider than it is tall. It is. Not a lot, just a little. I should probably fix the naming convention there. And then I can move on to doing this. So let me just really quickly fix this, because this is going to bug me. Done. Okay, there we go. All right. So now if I go into here, other than renaming these few things I copied, I should be ready to go. I need to look at one of my old sheets to see what my usual dimensions are for the data mines themselves. So that one is, yeah, got it. That's a little bit too wide. I need something more like this one. Yeah, I need only 5 wide. That's why I was looking at the dimensions. Okay, so top to bottom, 1050 tall, 1350 wide. Okay. New. Actually, I'm going to make this taller because I have a bunch more stuff to add into it. All right. So now I need to put a box about the 350 range, about there, just so I have a line I can line up my armors on. Like about like so. Then I will start putting my armors on there. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry for the image flashing. This should go right over the top of it. It does. Perfect. Okay. Put you right about there. And the air and fire. Can get it closer to that one. None of these armors are particularly wide, so I'm not worried about it going too far this direction. I just don't want them to be too far apart from each other. So it gives me a little bit more room if I need it. Air and spirit. Yeah, I have room. Good. Because this guy's a little bit on the wider side. I might be able to actually make this a little bit narrower. I might not need this much room. And there's the dual air at the right. Okay. Now we have the armor number 5, or excuse me, number 6. And try to line these up with the ones above them so they're relatively in line with each other, top to bottom. Pretty good. Okay. Fix that right now. Because I had a lowercase o in there and that would have bugged me. I'm a little bit retentive that way when I'm naming things. I always like to keep them consistent, and if I mess something up I have to fix it or it will bother me. And there's air and fire. Ta-da! There's our armors. So just a quick prediction before I move on. So first one of course is raid. This is our air and earth raid. Air and fire, I'm going to say this one's seasonal. I'm not positive, but I'm guessing it probably is. This one I'm going to say is the raid armor. But again, I'm not positive. Air Spirit is going to be seasonal. Dual Air, of course, is exclusive. Air Earth down here is going to be a war. Air Water Fusion, Air Spirit, war, and then Air Fire would be another event, like war, probably. So wars are most likely going to be Air and Spirit, Air and Fire, which is pretty normal. And then raids, of course, are Air Earth and Air Water. So we have seasonal, raid, seasonal, exclusive, seasonal, sorry, air earth is seasonal, sorry, excuse me. Air water fusion, air spirit, war, air fire, war. That's my prediction at this point. So I could have the air waters reversed, but neither one of them looks much like the raid boss, so I can't really say for sure which one's which, but that's just what I'm going off of now. Okay. Amulet. Stop alt tabbing in that window, you dink. Thank you. Amulet right there. The amulet to me looks distinctly fire, by the way. It does not look especially earth to me. There. And there's the amulet for the exclusive. Oops, don't do that. Right about there. Ring right about there. Try to keep them roughly in the same vicinity of each other on both rows. Okay, amulet for the air and water. The ring. And we are almost done. Well, with this part of it anyway. I've still got to get the elements and all the other stuff in here as well, but this is, the majority of the work is now done. Yeah, the top of that ring is cut off. That's still funny to me. Or the top of that little shield bit thing there at the top is all just missing. For whatever reason, it's not there. And ring. Okay. Okay, there we go. So that's all done. I'm actually going to move this air fire armor over just a titch. Because it looks off to me. Just a little farther away, but if I move it farther away, it looks like it's too far away. Move it in just a little bit here. That looks better. For whatever reason, it looks better to me. Even though it doesn't really line up with the one above it as much. It just looks better. There's not as big of a gap between the armors, but now that I look at it, I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to move it back. Right there. There we go. Where it was originally. Yeah, it's just because this armor is a little smaller, it just throws it off kilter to me. First row, third armor. Yeah, I like that armor. That's my favorite air water armor so far. Okay. So let me go back up to my other screen here, which is here. We're going to get all of our elements in place now. So, actually let me do another layer so I can put it right over the top of it and it doesn't get in the way. Okay, so there's water. And there we go. Then we're going to go with spirit, which is this guy here. And this guy here. Right about there. Then we have fire, which is this one here. And this guy in the bottom right. And then we have earth, which is this one here, and this one here right below it. There we go. And then we do air for the rest. Okay, almost done with that part. I made a boo-boo. I didn't move that one down far enough. One of those things that will also bug me until I fix it, so I just figured I'd fix it really quick before I moved on. Okay. There we are. Okay, that's done. So I'm going to shorten this up to about 1300. So I don't need quite that much space. There we go. Now I've got all this space down here to do the rest. Okay, so let me quickly save this before I move on. Okay. Alrighty, so now let me get the, actually one thing I forgot to do Let me go back to here. I need to open up this guy. And I need to go into here and open up this guy. Hey, good evening. Welcome. So I'm going to use... They look pretty much identical. Actually, this one has these like colors that are lit up as opposed to being kind of more dull. I'm going to use the lit up one. We're going to take this puppy right here. We're going to resize you. Oops, no, resize. We're going to make you about 500. Oop, get out of there. Because I need to delete all the other stuff around it first. Okay. Move you down to here, or thereabouts. Make a new layer, and drop it behind. So this is going to go right about there, I think. Yeah, that's about it right there. Looking to see if it's like in the right positioning. It's a little bit off, but not far. Like about like that, I think. Yep, right about there. Perfect. So that's it. That's the cape. And let's move this whole thing. Let's merge it back into one layer and move it up to here. Like about like so. And how far down are we here? 375. Not that far off, actually. 350, 375. There we go. Much better. Okay. Now I'm going to save that as the same thing, but with cape. Now I'm going to resize it to be about 250. That's not quite enough. I got to go even smaller. Whoops. That should be good. We'll just save that as is. Okay. That's done. Get rid of that one and that one now. Okay. So now I'm going to make my boxes. Oops. Box first. Thank you. And make this guy right about there. And as usual, I make the box too big. Pretty common for me, though. I do it all the time. So 36 too big? Actually, no, that's about perfect. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to go back into here and grab our materials. Keeps alt-tabbing to the wrong window. So there's the first one. Put that right about there. Actually, I'm going to move that box down just a hair. Like that. There we go. That's better. Put you right about there. There we go. That's better. Okay. Now boss number one. Right about here. Boss number two. Right about here. Yeah, looks good. I'm going to move the other one over just a hair though. Like that. Okay. Pets. Tier 1. Trying to line them up, make sure they look properly, or proper in there. And I've moved them over too far to the side. Gotta move them over this way just a little bit to make room for the third one. Because I don't want it going over the top of that thing, which is exactly what it's about to do. I may have to move that whole thing over even more. so it's not overlapping that thing. I don't want it going over the top of this image. Zoom to the right, move you down. There we go, that's better. Not right on top of it. Okay. About like so. There's the pets. Okay. Now let's throw in the cape. Whoops. I don't copy the whole folder. Put the cape right about here. And then the armor with the cape. Check and see the size on this. Actually, that's about perfect. I made it just about the right size. But I made it. Now I need to make another layer. Okay. So it's not overlapping that image right there because it would have cut it off if I didn't. Okay, so there's that, and I can now make my other text box for the cape. I need to make my box for the bosses as well, but I can do that in a moment. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it is a good looking armor. Agreed. Getting that lined up there. Okay. Now the fun part. Let me save this really quick. I am going to need to figure out where to put all the other stuff. So not only do I have to put my information, which I'll probably put up in here maybe, but I need to also have a place to put the other materials, the other bosses, and I may actually have to make this longer than it currently is. So let me do that really quick first. Let me go to here. Change this to a little bit smaller so it doesn't need to be that large. And of course it's not doing anything because I have the other thing highlighted. Stupid. There we go. Live stream. Derp. Datamine, September 2020. Bosses are air, earth, and air, water, correct. I have to make that even smaller than it is because it's too big. I may actually have to move it down below the cape instead. Yeah, that'll work. I'll put the month up there in the corner. It does need to be red though. There we go. Okay, then we're going to go to here and click up here. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Let me click somewhere else first. There we go. Messing myself up. This is going to be season 50 air. I'm going to make that just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to highlight it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I got to figure out where to put the... Actually, let me do the text on the top of these guys really quick first before I move on. Change that back to 24. So this is first row, first... I gotta, hang on, I can't do that yet, I can't see it. It's just enough of a color difference that I can't see it that well. First, oh yeah, I can't read it with that color. So what I'm going to do now then, before I put those labels in there, I'm going to have to extend this for certain. It's not anywhere near long enough. And then we'll go back to here, back to the back layer, and delete all of that white. What? Did I not do it? Oh, I did it. Did I do it in layer 4? If I did it in layer 2. Okay, fine. Gonna be a pain in the butt? Gonna be a pain in the butt. There we go, finally. Okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna put in the bosses, because I don't know for sure where they are, what to really do with them. So I'm just gonna put them right down below the existing pets, just because it'll look nicer that way, I think. Zoom in just a little so I can line them up a little better. I'm actually just going to stack them side by side rather than, because I should have enough room, I think, below that. What layer am I in? Oh, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to stack them up side by side. There should be enough room. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to go with these funky things. I don't know what these are even going to be used for. Actually, let me move that into a different layer so I can put it right over the top. There we go. So I can actually bunch these up a little closer to that without overlapping it and covering it up. Okay, I'm going to do here. Again, I'm just trying to line these up so they look a little bit more consistent. Okay. They're smaller in size, but that gives me more room to line them up with everything else. I'm assuming an event, yeah, I don't know. There's 5 more bosses than there is normally. There's also these little books. There's also some scrolls, some little gems. I have no idea. I have no idea what it's being used for. Just what's in the files. And I'm going to need to make another layer for that, I think. Which is kind of a bummer. But it's okay. Okay. Make a new layer. This should now go over the top. Perfect. I'm actually gonna space these out a little bit so they're not like lined up with the next ones. And even though the colors and the elements don't match up, I know, I'm aware. I'm just putting them down so that people can see them. I don't know what they're used for or anything else. I'm just putting them in here. So technically this one would belong with that one would be, you know, all those other ones are all mixed up, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about the elements matching. So I'm just trying to get them lined up in there. And in fact, these ones are not lined up. Oh well, I'm gonna have to go back and fix those because they look a little funky to me. Just to bump them up just a little bit higher. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It looks off to me, but I'm going to leave it the way it is. Okay. Now I'm going to put down the other materials here. And I don't know what these are being used for either, but I'm just going to put them down here as well. I probably could have done all this across the same, all the way across this way and still had room. But that's okay. Too late now. Again, I'm trying to line them up. I'm not always very successful every time, but I'm doing what I can. may have to rearrange these after I look at the layout of it and see what it looks like first before I do much else, because it's going to bug me if it looks funky. Okay, what's that look like? Nope, I'm going to have to redo it, because that's going to bug me. Definitely going to have to redo it. Okay, we're going to move you. Let's move you over to here. Yeah, that'll work. And then I will do this. Since these are in a separate layer, I can move them as well. Oops, wrong layer. Let's try that one instead. There we go, much better. So put these over here. I really don't know what to do with this. This is funky. Funky to my eyes. I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I know the color schemes. I'm just not worrying about lining them up with each other. I'm wondering if I can just stack these all on top of each other. If that'll look okay. They're actually not that far off. I thought they were farther off, and you can see of the bottom line there. They're really not that far off. I did a better job than I thought I did. So let's take this one here and move it down so it matches up with the other ones a little bit better. Kind of cutting off the bottom edge of that one. I don't know. I would assume so, but I'm not sure. It's most likely some kind of collection thing where you have to collect a certain amount of one thing to do another thing and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. That's just an assumption at this point on my part. I really don't know. Okay, let's take this one here, which I think is that one, if memory serves. Nope, it's not. Is it this one? Yes, it is. Okay. Trying to figure out how I can make this a little bit cleaner so it's not quite so clunky looking. Is this in the same layer? Okay, it's not. Good. Okay. I just wanted to be sure because I'm just going to line these all up. Collecting things, yeah. Oh, come on. Wrong layer again. There we go. Okay. I'm not worried about whether the elements line up or not. I'm just trying to get them to look a little bit more uniform. Whoops, wrong layer again. I forget I'm in a different layer there. I'm going to cut and I'm going to move you into this layer, just so you're all in the same layer together. Okay, that's better, to my eyes anyway. And then I'll move these guys, if they're even in the same layer. I'm not sure they are. No, they're not. Okay. Nope, they're not in that layer either. How did I get that so far off? There we go. Okay. I have an idea. I'm going to do something different. Move you down here. Okay, I've got to move the whole thing down because I moved it too far, or move the whole thing up because I moved it too far down. Making my life more difficult than it needs to be. I'm getting a little too particular about how this layout is, but I just don't like the way it looks, so I'm redoing it really quick. There we go. Now I can bunch them up together a little bit better and not overlap each other. Okay, there we go. So I don't know what these are for. I don't know what kind of event it's going to be, if any event at all. It might not even be right away. But yeah, this is September. And I'm going to put a text box in between them. But it's going to be just basically event question mark. Oops, that's wrong color. I need black. There we go. No, Halloween's in October. September is next month. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to take these guys here. I'm going to move this to the right. Oops. Oh, actually, I can't. Well, I can. I can still move it. I'll just fill in that gap. I'll get this one. I'll move it to the left. I have an idea. Bear with me. I will get there in just a second. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay, why is it doing that to me? It keeps drawing it the same direction. And then we will put it here. That's too big of an arrow. Just making my life more difficult than it needs to be. Okay, let's try it again. Oops. I'll put it here, and I will go rotation. A little bit more work than I needed to do, but it's okay. I'll move it now. Okay, so we got bosses over here, materials over there. All right. Yeah, some kind of September event. I don't know what it's going to be. They're different elemental dragons. I don't know what the other materials over here on the right are for. But yeah, it is what it is. That's all I know at this point. So let me save that again. Go to the very back layer. I'm now going to fill it in. There we go. Okay. So now I need to put in my text for the bosses, my predictions on what they were probably going to be. So this one is... What are you doing? Stop that. Thank you. My mouse is freaking out. First row, first armor. And again, I'm guessing on the other right armor. I don't know. I'm just going to say for now it's the top one, which is this one here, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to say first row, third armor on that one. With a question mark because I'm not sure. Which is really, really rare. It's really abnormal for the raid bosses and armors not to be obvious. Like this one, I know because it's been used multiple times, but this one I just don't know. I'm guessing it's this one, but it could be this one. So, one final time, here's my predictions. We're at about 1 hour and 43 minutes now, which is pretty normal for most live streams. So again, one more time, just for the kids at home who haven't seen this before now. We have raid, seasonal, exclusive, seasonal, fusion, war. That's my guess at this point. I'm not positive. I'm not 100% sure. I'm never 100% accurate. But that's what I think it is. So that's it for now. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here in just a second. But that's it for this month. If there's anything new coming up, of course, I'll update everyone. I'm going to put this on KnD bot here in just a second so that everyone can look at it along with my predictions. But that's it for this month. So thanks, everyone, for joining again one more time, and have a great rest of your weekend. I think we have the Blitz War starts tomorrow, so that'll be for the Earth Spirit and the Earth at the higher milestones. So that should be interesting for those of you going for it. Most of you that got them already in the last raid war, or the last Blitz War, excuse me. Of course, you don't need it, but for those of you who are going for 2 sets, you might want it as well. I don't know. It's up to you. But good rest of your weekend, and good luck, and thanks everyone for joining, and I will catch you in about a month, or 3 to 4 weeks anyway. See ya!